Hello everyone, I wish you a Merry Christmas and I hope that you enjoy your time and your holiday. And of course, today we're gonna see an analysis for Bitcoin again, of course, starting with the daily, where we have, of course, our channeling here, the daily channels, where we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 toward the upside. Finished, of course, a bull run where we potentially finished a wave 1 here. And we're looking at our bear market A, B, and a C expanding flat, where we have, of course, a wave B here as a very complex structure. Can be, of course, unless, of course, this can be also a leading diagonal. But don't forget that there is a very huge problem here to be impulsive here. And of course, we cannot say that this can be something as an impulse. Of course, reflecting as well a potential wave B, and we're looking for a wave C here to unfold as an expanding flat. 1.618 is our common target, 67 or 68K, I would say, for Bitcoin. Now, currently within this wave C, we are looking, of course, at a 1, 2, 3 here. The wave 3 is internally unfinished, and that because, of course, you have double 1, 2 here. Wave 3 has been given. Now the wave 4 is still unfolding. As you can see as well, based on our channeling here, the new channel taken from the wave 1 based on the wave 2 as a base channel, the price is still, of course, ranging inside this base channel and even above the middle line. And this is, of course, a question mark. What is going on, right? If we are in wave 4 here and it has to be finished and done, and especially, of course, the timing taken from the wave 2 here is already very long for a wave 4 as alternation, meaning, of course, we should have already took a wave 5 since a very long time ago. And of course, definitely something is going on here, opening different scenarios, of course, for this possibility for a wave C. Meaning, if we are not yet finished in a finished wave 3 and the timing is already very long for wave 2 here, and in comparison with the wave 4, well, we have to start to think about something pushing for higher, right? So what are the possibilities to push for higher here and still, of course, having a bear market? The first scenario here is, of course, after having a zigzag A, B, and a C here, your wave C is kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 expanding diagonal. And then, of course, you finished a kind of like a zigzag there, and you're looking to an ABC toward the upside here. The ABC is, of course, starting with 5 waves, leading diagonal wave A, B, and a C toward the upside. Opening a zigzag for a wave 2 in an ending diagonal, of course, for a wave C, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, which is still, of course, preserving the same bear market as an ABC expanding flat, the same target as well. 68K, of course, to be reached for this expanding flat in a wave C. A, B, and a C expanding flat is, of course, very still likely even in an ending diagonal and not a very sharp impulse or aggressive impulse, as we saw, of course, in the beginning. Now, of course, there is potential scenarios that it can be, of course, something even much more longer in time as a triangle like A, B, C, D, E, and E. And then, of course, pushing for lower. Okay, the time is never been invalidation, but it's only a guideline as per Elliott Wave. And of course, even if we take more time, it still can be, of course, a wave 4 and a wave 5 to open for the next possibilities as well. Now, a different scenario, of course, to push for higher, since we are looking at a very long time and also a leading diagonal. What if we have here the leading diagonal, as we mentioned before, possibility, of course, to have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as a leading diagonal wave 1, and then you are currently in the perfect fib levels for a wave 2, 0.618 and 0.786 Fibonacci levels here for a wave 2. And as you can see that the price didn't took the 886, which is, of course, still increasing the possibility toward the upside, and of course can unfold something as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 for a potential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulse, of course, toward the upside, which is the ultimate bullish here. But of course, there is also another possibility for bullish, which it can be, of course, a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 ending diagonal for a wave 5 here, where you already have in the previous bull run a 1, 2, a wave 3, 4, and a 5. Meaning, to finish this wave 5, you still need, of course, one more push toward the upside with one more high potentially here to finish, of course, an ending diagonal. So these are the three possibilities. One of them is extremely bullish, of course, it's still early to call, but one is very likely, and based on the timing here that we can see and the complexities that we start to see as well, and a potential diagonal here unfolding a potential ABC zigzag, meaning, of course, turning into a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. So this is the highest possibility, honestly, right now. I see for Bitcoin as a potential 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 as a diagonal unfolding toward the downside. Now, of course, based on the timing, you don't have to, of course, give up directly on the impulse as a wave 3 here, 4, and a 5. But of course, the timing is suggesting something else currently, and also the structure is suggesting something else as a potential ABC, because the invalidation will be taken very, very soon here, which is of course at 99k 677, meaning if we push as an ABC, the wave C will invalidate this impulse. By invalidation, you will of course activate a potential ending diagonal, of course, toward the downside, unless of course we keep pushing for higher, which is the extreme bullish already explained. Now, if we dive inside it on the 1 hours chart here, we can see as well for Bitcoin, we are in this impulse toward the downside that we were explaining. So we have a wave 1, 2, and you have double 1, 2s here, and you have the wave 3, right? So the wave 3 is 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, and we got a diagonal after it. Of course, this diagonal is of course clear for us for Bitcoin, and of course it can be at least an ABC, which is of course unfolding still a wave C towards the upside. Currently, we have a 1-2 inside here after reaching our testing area perfectly, and we saw a reaction. We saw an impulse towards the upside. I'm gonna zoom in here, where we saw, of course, a wave 1, A, B, and a C, of course, finished expanding flat for a wave 2 in our second testing area, perfectly hit, and the most common target perfectly taken. We saw a reaction again toward the upside. However, this reaction is not the perfection, I would say, but we're still seeing, of course, something unfolding toward the upside. Can be double 1-2 here, unfolding, of course, for higher prices. Yep. So basically, if we want to analyze this, of course, you cannot really count it as really impulsive here, especially over there. I mean, this is definitely a correction, ABC expanding flat. Now, if this is something else unfolding here as an impulse, can be a of course, the second double 1-2 here, 1-2, 1-2, and then pushing for higher. So these are the expectation here, but of course we still have to be careful. It's still risky on the macro level. Of course, the pressure is still very strong for the sell, especially if we take a look here at the KGT for Bitcoin. So for Bitcoin, we are looking here on the 1 minute time frame. We can see also that, yes, here we go. We have, of course, some selling pressure there. We see, of course, the pressure of sellers is still there. However, also the bullish signals are there, but nothing yet is strong. Okay, there is no divergence here between, of course, the price and the signals that we have. Now we see, of course, a push toward the upside, of course, with the signals. This is normal with KGT, but of course, it doesn't show a divergence. I would like to see a divergence between the price and the CVD line to say that, yes, we are very, very impulsive, meaning this is going to continue. Because, of course, right now, once you get a very strong signal for the bearish, here we go, we start to drop down, meaning weakness already starting from there. We already know that this is weak signal still, of course, for the bulls. For the bulls, it might not survive. However, also regarding the bearish here, I see also a weak signal for the bearish, meaning, yes, it is going very, very sideways, and there is a huge consolidation here. There is a huge balance between the bulls and the bears there. And I see, of course, invalidation for several bearish signal at the same time here. And of course, we see, of course, the bullish signal as well invalidated. So yeah, I would say the price is still, of course, consolidating here. Very likely to turn, of course, into something even much more sideways, unless, of course, we get a very strong divergence here for the bulls, and in case we get it, of course, we might continue toward the upside. But I would say the balance right now between the bears and the bulls is very, very equal in this area, and that's why we see, of course, a very long sideways here. However, of course, as per Elliott Wave, we're still, of course, looking for something toward the upside because of the diagonal. So whatever we're gonna get here, probably it's gonna unfold sooner or later. It's gonna need some time, of course, to balance the things, but I believe, of course, that the thing can still, of course, have at least the 98k 777 here, which it can be anyway, the invalidation of the impulse, but of course turning the bear market into a diagonal. Yeah, so this is what I'm expecting for Bitcoin, guys. Yep, so these are the insights for Bitcoin from the daily to the 15-minute chart. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes and comments. See you in the next one. Bye bye.